Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and the honorable educator. Let me introduce myself. My name is Handas Karafoliadi. As the first speaker from the opposite team will deliver my speech. This motion today, this House vote require political candidates to pass a political competency test in order to run for office. Ladies and gentlemen, I, as the first speaker from the opposite team, absolutely disagree with the motion. I believe that this motion is to impose political competency tests and require professional background for political candidates. It's undemocratic, elites, and counterproductive to solving political nihilism. Instead of restoring trust in government, it will worsen political orientation, reduce representation, and future exclude marginalized voices. Ladies and gentlemen, as the first speaker from the pro team said, on social contract and competency means better governance. Ladies and gentlemen, the government falsely from a lack technical knowledge. But in reality, most police failures stem from conflicting interests, corruption, and a poor accountability or weak institution, not from lack of academic understanding. Ladies and gentlemen, you don't fix system political failure just with an exam. The second is, the first speaker from the pro team said, the analogy with driver license. This is a false analogy. Driving has a clear safety rules, but in politics, by contrast, is about value, ideology, and vision, not just knowledge of political and economy. A person who scores well on a test may still have poor ethic, empathy, or maybe be easily to corruption. The third is unpolitical nihilism being solved by merit-based candidates. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a highly idealistic. Political apathy comes from people feeling excluded or unheard, not because they think politicals are uneducated. By putting barriers to entry, this system will increase the gap between government and people, not close it. Ladies and gentlemen, I will deliver my argument. The first is this system elites and underweights political inequality. Democracy is founded on the principle that every citizen has the right to vote and to be voted for. Regardless of their background, imposing a political test and professional experience requirement violates that right. Not everyone has access to formal education or professional experience, especially women, minority, rural citizens, and the poor. Yet, these individuals often have the most authentic grassroots understanding of public issues. This creates two-tiered democratic seat, where only those who pass academic style filters are seen qualified, which reinforce political monopoly by elites. For example, ladies and gentlemen, we can see at India and China. In India, they have Mahatma Gandhi, and in China, they have Dr. Sun Yat-sen. In many countries, some of the most transformative leaders come from activists, union organizations, or local communities. Second, it worsens political nihilism and reduces trust. Ladies and gentlemen, political nihilism is not caused by lack of competence, but lack of representation. People don't vote because they don't see people like them in power. If only professionals only a test facing elites can run, the average citizen will feel more alienated. The third is competency tests are not a guarantee or good leadership. There is no objective way to decide a fair political test. The question is, who decide the question? Will ideological view be punished? Or will activist or community experience be valued? Highly education, technically competent leader can still enact harmful policies or abuse of power. A test cannot measure character, empathy, or integrity. Ladies and gentlemen, let's see in Indonesia. In Indonesia, many political corruption have a PhD. That means education cannot measure character, empathy, and integrity. Ladies and gentlemen, the solution to political apathy is not inclusion but empowerment. We should educate, not eliminate. Build a stronger democratic institution, not filter system. For that reason, I, Hannas Karnavaliani, as the first speaker from the opposite team, absolutely disagree with the motion. Thank you for your attention. That's all I can say. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.